Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Gain Ground. We have completed the level Europe in the Medieval Ages, and we have moved on to a new stage. That is pre-Revolution China. It is unfortunately a bit of an annoying beginning, because before we get anywhere, we have two levels filled with these sandworm enemies, and they are absolutely horrible to deal with. Just a horrible group of enemies. This first level especially is the worst, because they don't fire out projectiles or anything like that. They fire out these bug minion things, which just kind of crawl around for a while. They have really strange movement patterns that make it difficult to tell where they're coming from. I'm not exactly sure where Sega thought these sandworms were in pre-Revolution China, but there we are. Oh, I don't really want to grab you yet, but there we are. I haven't found a consistent strategy to dealing with them, although for the rest of the aids I have found some pretty decent, pretty consistent strategies. So with this one, it's just a case of checking your enemy counter until you finally hit 4, at which point you can say that the sandworms are dealt with, and you can go and deal with those guys up at the top. They are like the wizards in that they usually spawn in roughly the same location each time they pop up, but there does seem to be slightly more movement than other characters. And I think we're just going to get to the exit now that we've got the Water Knight in tow. Oh! Okay, we're going to have to go and reload that. That's a bit annoying. Again, we don't want to lose anyone. This is actually the first era in which we are going to sacrifice someone permanently, but we don't want to lose anyone at this stage. Now, unfortunately, I did pause in a pretty awful time before beginning this episode, so we do die immediately, and I have to be carried straight to the goal to make sure we don't lose any characters. But that, it is what it is. I think Verbal's probably the best. It's a choice between the Magic Knights, because they deal extra damage, and then Verbal with his extra movement speed. It's probably the Magic Knight we wanted to go with, but we've got Verbal out now, so either we get through it or we don't, and we bear that in mind for next time. It's not a great start. They throw the two toughest levels of the age right at you straight away, which is a bit annoying. But it does get easier. The rest of the age really doesn't stack up to this, especially with some of the exploits I have found. The Water Knight you want to go with, because they are supposed to be able to stun enemies using their magic spell. It's not super effective against the sandworms. It's more effective against their minions, to be honest. But the idea is it might be kind of like the wizards that they're kind of similar to, in that you can just stun them. Sometimes you just get in a situation like that and it's like, great. Or in a situation like that where all your projectiles just kind of skim right by their head. That's 6. We've got 2 more to go. 1 around here, and then 1 up there. 5. If you can get them, you can kill them pretty quickly. It's just getting them that's the problem. 4. There we go. Now we are going to keep that one singular guard that's kinda furthest to the right, and we're going to take out all the rest of them. I think they are starting to get slightly bulkier, the projectile wielding ones. In the last stage, the melee units started to get a bit bulkier, but I think this is the point where even the ones with projectiles are getting a bit tougher. And we'll just go up here with this guy. I think his name's Gaston. I've found a couple more of the characters' names. I think he's Gaston. And then we are going to get Mud Puppy out. The first character of which we have a duplicate. We just picked up a duplicate of Verbal, which is great for us. And boom, take him out like that. This stage isn't so bad as the last one. It still does have the sandworms, which is a bit infuriating, but they're less annoying than they were beforehand. I found a couple of different strategies. Your biggest problem here actually is time management. Like, because you have a lot of sandworms to kill in a not huge amount of time. And they fire a lot of projectiles at you, so it's a case of even getting one in a position to attack is a nightmare. You kind of just need to choose one and just go for it whenever you're given the opportunity, which they're not giving me. Oh, okay, because he's dead. That explains it. Right, this one in the corner we'll go for next. Done. There's one over here. I think he's the last one in this kind of first row. So we'll wait for him to pop up, like so. Water ball, he's done. Again, with this sandworms, you really need to check your enemy counter to keep track of how many you've defeated, because obviously, otherwise you can't tell how many you've gone through with them coming up and down. There's one in this corner. You do need to be pretty head straight on with the water ball for it to actually trigger. This one over here is kind of... Oh. That's not great, but we'll just get with someone with decent range. I say maybe... Mud Puppy's projectiles aren't great. We'll go with like this heavy machine gun guy, see how that goes. Just to get some variety out, frankly. Oh, is that him gone? Or did I kill the guy behind him? Well, that's good, because that's the kind of the side of enemies we need to deal with anyway, so... Oh, that was close. Skimmed by. Right, there we go. Then we'll just take out these sets. Come on, start firing. There we go, we'll leave him. We'll come up here, we'll just get Athra to come up, grab this guy. I think it's a duplicate of Mars, who is the weaker version of Verbal. And then once again, we get Mud Puppy, just to snipe them from the corner. These heavy weapons characters, to be honest, more often than not, they're just there to be a sort of clear out the final set of enemies when you just want to get them over and done with. Okay, with this level, we want to go with Mars. These early set aren't too bad, but the guys in the trenches will jump out and start chasing you unless you get very specific. I think Mars, from my testing, might have slightly better range than Verbal. I'm not sure whether that is true, but it feels like he has slightly better range. It feels like his projectiles go slightly further than Verbal. Like special projectiles plus normal projectiles, which makes him good for situations like this because you can snipe enemies from slightly further back. It's kind of making Johnny a bit irrelevant because his whole thing was he was our good ranged character that wasn't ridiculously slow, but now Mars is also capable of that. It's like, well, what's even the point of you now? Yeah, there you go. That's what happens. The first few times I was trying this stage, it was like a case of trying to bait them out to the trenches so you could hit them just head on. But eventually I figured out you can do that. That's just as good. Alright, with this, if I remember correctly, we kind of want to go with Verbal. We just need someone who's fairly quick at this early stage because you get a lot of ambushes from the corners of the screen at the start of this fight. So you just need someone who can move around, who's quite agile. And then we slowly take out these guys. There's a lot of different projectile enemies in terms of like number of sprites of enemies firing projectiles. Can't quite tell who they're all supposed to be. Again, this is pre-Revolution China, but I can't quite tell who they all are. I'm assuming it's fairly close to Revolution China, seeing as everyone are carrying guns at this point. But like, I think the people who were coming on the stage were like the Lords of Heads. I think that's supposed to be Straw Hats, but then like these guys, I can't tell what the difference between the red and the blue are supposed to be. Alright, with that, we get him, and then we just get Mars to take out this final guy from a distance. We could have gone with Robbie, who is the fistball guy from last time, who can fire his missile but only hits higher units. I'm actually got some stuff to show off with that in a moment. Right, again we're going to go with Verbal to start this level. We start getting introduced to this new type of enemy who throws bombs. They're not too big of a deal actually. I'm not sure how big their range is, but it's not like terrifying. And then we just need to be careful because we do get ambushed from the side of the screen on this stage. Yeah, it took them a while to come out actually. They're usually out a little earlier than that. I think there should be one more from the side of the screen, so we don't want to get too close in case they come out. I don't know where they are. There we are. It took them a while. And with that, we can just deal with everyone else we've already got on screen. Mars is probably better than Verbal at this point, again with the slightly better range, but it's much of a muchness. We don't really want to like drop Verbal and have to go and get to the exits now. We just want to try and take people out. And again, it's a bit of a struggle hitting the bomber guy because he's on a different altitude to us, and I've already explained how different altitudes really difficult to hit in this game. Again, I think it's probably was better on the arcade, but it's a bit tricky here. With this, I think we want to go Verbal, if I remember. No, not Verbal, Mars for this one, the off-brand Rambo. I find it's a lot harder to hit these guys in the trenches with Verbal than it is with Mars, so we can get them pretty easily with him. And I do think we get ambushed, but it takes a while. You'll note that we've got a load of enemies remaining considering how few, there we go, are actually on screen, and that's because we get ambushed a couple of times in this stage. There's a couple of rounds of this. People coming from the sides, but they're not too hard to deal with. I think it's, yeah, one more coming from the top, and we're going to let the bomber stop throwing his bombs. We're going to sneak in. We're going to grab this character, and then we're just going to go and grab Robbie and snipe him from the bottom of the screen. Again, Robbie and Mud Puppy, they're really just the cleanup crew, to be honest. Like, once you've got to the end of the stage and then just got one guy hidden in a corner, you just call in Robbie and Mud Puppy and snipe him from miles back. And with this, I've actually got a little exploit to tell you about that makes Robbie particularly powerful. So his thing is that he can only hit enemies on higher ground, but if there is no higher ground in a level like this, then his projectiles will go on the ground instead. But for some reason that breaks them, and they can now go through obstacles like sandbags and walls and all the rest of it like this. So what is supposed to be a difficult job of like slowly going through these sandbags and having to deal with the enemies there, if you've got Robbie, it's a complete joke, because you can just sit at the back and snipe everyone from a mile away. Let's get him, and then we'll slowly walk up, very slowly, because again Robbie isn't quick. Oof, that's the closest that projectile's got to hitting me. Grab whoever that is, I can't remember off the top of my head. Again, we're playing a lot of Verbal and Mars, so we don't actually see many of the other characters at this point. But then we're just going to get Professor, we're going to hug the side of the sandbags, and then we're just going to use our special attack twice, just to make sure we get him, and then run away. And that makes that stage pretty simple. This stage is another one that we just want to get Mars in, I think. Yeah, I think we get... the gimmick here is these first set of enemies, these ones below the walls, are replaced twice over with another round of enemies. But once you go through that, it's really just what it looks like. You know, a load of people behind some walls. Some bombers you got to deal with. But again, with Mars' excellent range, it's really not that bad. It can be like right at the edge of their range. And you can hit these guys from the other side of the wall, so they can't do anything. And then this is the only kind of dangerous bit. You gotta like sneak in and take these middle guys out with diagonal shots. You gotta let them stop firing, and then you gotta run up. You've kind of got to like charge the enemy like that and hit them before they can get their shots to you. But again, not too difficult, not too crazy difficult. This one, we do want to go with Verbal. We are probably going to lose him just because we get charged by a ton of enemies right at the start of the level, but it's fine if we do. Or not this time. Yeah, I was about to say if we do, then we just run to the end with a different character and save him. It's not a particularly dangerous rescue operation. But in this case, we actually managed to get through them without any danger. So that's good for us. We just want to leave someone alive in this corner. I usually just go with a bomber. Oh. We want to deal with this bomber first, before we deal with the ones in the middle, actually. And then we just take these guys out pretty easily. Run to the exit with this character, who I can't remember their name. I think it's Honey. It's like a blonde version of the Betty character we got at the start. Not too crazy dangerous. And then we're just going to get Robbie out again and snipe them from the other side of the sandbags. And yeah, pretty easy level once, pretty easy era once you get to it. The only danger here, and the only time I feel like I need to quick save, is this stage, because we have a bit of a strange strategy here. What we're going to do is we're going to get Cyber. And this is what I'm talking about when I say that this is the first time we're going to sacrifice a character, because you may notice there is no exit here, and yet we've got a character who can't hit higher areas in an area where we're going to have to kill all the enemies because there's no way to just get him out to the level. And that is because Cyber here isn't coming out with us. Like, this is it. This is his last stand, because he is the closest we get to a safe way to deal with these bosses, because they're tanky, they gun back and forth, they fire out a ton of projectiles very quickly, so we need someone who just can stay out of their range and still deal a lot of damage. And Cyber's the only one that really fits the bill. It's a bit of an uneven strategy. We get a bit close on time. I've never ran out of time, but we've got close enough that I'm nervous to come here without a quick save. There probably is a way we can do this without losing a character, but I don't really want to go through the tedium of finding a different strategy. We've got 2 Cybers anyway. Cyber's a character we got a duplicate of, so we can deal with having a losing one of them. We got a ton of lives. I mean, if you're looking at characters just as the number of lives we got 24. We can lose one version of Cyber when we've only got 2 eras left to deal with. And I will admit we are taking a long time to hit the characters here, so I am definitely worried we're going to run out of time. But that's why I put down a quick save. There we go. Okay, red one's down first. That's rare. That's the first time I've taken down the red one first. The blue one's usually the one that goes down faster. Oh, okay. We're actually a lot closer to dealing with both of them than I thought. I think we should be able to take out at least one of the bombers with Cyber here. And then we lose Cyber. Sucks to be him, but it's what it is. And then we just get one of our bow wielders. And then we just take people out from a distance. So yeah, honestly, compared to the medieval age, this took me a lot less time to figure out, like, decent strategies. At this point, now we've got Verbal and Mars, we're really set, especially with duplicates of them. So there isn't really much the game can throw at us that can't be cheesed just by using Verbal. But anyway, that's it for today's episode. Next time, we're going to be taking on the modern age with modern military men. But that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time for some more Gainground. But for now, adios and ciao.